I have a question for the first presenter. You defined the word port marketing concept. Can you elaborate a little bit about what is meant by port marketing concept?
I mean that more value-added services like providing provisions for ships and providing bunkering facilities and fresh water from Sri Lanka to the foreign ships like that. Because Singapore is doing that. In Sri Lankan concept, we don't provide provisions for ships in terminals.
What kind of marketing concept you want?
Actually, it attracts the shippers. I mean, when they come to Sri Lankan terminals, they all have to load and unload their cargo, and they go to Singapore usually for the provisions in the usual scenario. So, thank you.
I have a question to Mr. Rodrigo on toll collection system. So you have proposed several toll collection systems based on the systems used in different countries. Have you done any cost estimation or any idea on the installation cost? What is the best toll collection system that we should adopt in Sri Lanka?
Thanks a lot for the question. No, actually I didn't done any cost-benefit analysis, but I tried to understand on what customers prefer on prepaid and postpaid electronic toll collection methods, but I didn't done any cost-benefit analysis. What is the best option, like that.
And then in your recommendation, you have proposed that there should be a second service center somewhere in Weligama. So what is the relationship between the toll collection and the service center?
No, actually, one of my findings was, as per the questionnaire, as per the data that I have collected through questionnaire, I have identified that the people who have used Southern Expressway, they travel more than 90 kilometers, right? So at the moment, the Valipanna interchange is situated from 54 kilometers from the Kodalavali interchange, right? So if we are if considering that factor, then again there's a concern. Okay, if more people traveling more than 90 kilometers, right? Should this current existing interchange, existing service facility at Valipanna service those people who have traveled more than 90 kilometers? That's why I propose with the expansions, there should be another service facility should be implemented, which is beyond the distance of 90 kilometers. That's right.
I have a question for Ms. Ranavana. You mentioned about lack of connectivity between public transport modes. So what are your suggestions to improve this connectivity?
I suggest that we have limited rail network in our country, and it should be linked with the road network in our country. So we have to expand the railway network than we have currently now in Sri Lanka. So at least in major city areas, we have to link both. These should be linked not only with the network, but also with the time schedules that the bus time schedules and train time schedules should be integrated, so that the people can move from transfer between modes to modes.
I have a question for the same person. So what are the most crucial factors that affects on the service quality based among the factors that you have identified?
complaint patterns, the way of handling complaints and the conditions of the public buses, and there are a lot of crowded buses we can see on road, so people hesitate to use public transport. Mostly the people who are working as executives, and those peoples, the most people are using private vehicles, and depending on their occupation they hesitate to use public vehicles as their intentions. So when it is developed up to like in foreign countries, and like we can develop not only the bus mode together with the train, so if the buses are more comfortable, then people will use public transport. So, and
so if you have more comfortable with less connectivity, what will happen?
This is again a problem. This is, as I said, this is a major area, and each and every corner should be achieved when it comes to developing. So we have to develop more procedures and new strategies in order to achieve this target. This is not a short-term project, and this is a long-term investment, and we have we can get long-term benefits too. So,
and I have a question for Nissan Sala also. Now you showed some forecasted values, some actual demand values. So what is your error term? What is the error, the difference between the forecasted value and the actual demand that you have according to your analysis?
Around 1,000 actual value is 2,000 something, and forecasted value is 1,500. So error is 500 something.
Yes, I have a few suggestions for 3 presenters, and first one I like to start from Sharik. And when we are traveling to public transport modes, sometimes our time can be utilized for reading newspapers or listening to music. So should we consider that also when we are going to estimate the value of time? Okay. Because if we are going to travel by our own transportation mode, then we can't utilize that time. Is there any possibility to take that accept also?
Yeah, normally from Fort to Moratuwa, we don't get much time to read.
Because of that short distance.
Yeah.
But if you think about, let's say like 1 hour, 2 hours, that also can be a factor to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it can be taken. Meanwhile, Fort to Moratuwa is a very congested. Public transport will not allow you to read. So, but in the future, maybe if you are going to widen the roads and everything, we can consider that aspect as well. Yes, so it's more suggestion to think about that one, yes. And regarding to the Ranavana, and I have seen that you have used a 3-point and 5-point Likert scale. There's any reason behind that one, using both though instead of 5-point?
I have several categories in my questionnaire. So I rated according to that, like I have rated complaint patterns in 3 scale, where the complaint they're having experiencing those bad experiences. So I have rated in 3 scales, where I included never experiencing, occasionally, frequently. So, and where I have included 5 scale, when considering customer satisfaction, I have included strongly dissatisfied.
Yes, I think it's more suggestion.
Yeah.
It's better to consider only like 5-point only. So maybe then your accuracy of the questionnaire will be increased compared to Alpha and everything.
Yeah, it was not possible to include those. I have tried to
divide
get
it.
into, yeah.
Right, okay.
I couldn't.
Right. Okay. And is your model multinomial or
Multinomial logistic
logistic? Multinomial. But I think better to apply ordered logic model. Because the reason your dependent variable you are taking from Likert square values.
Yeah.
So therefore try to put that one. Ordered logic model, I think your result will be increased, or I mean improve. Ordered logic model, yes, rather than multinomial one.
Okay,
yes, think about that part.
Thank you.
Yes, other thing actually maybe we will find be difficult to apply random sampling to passengers most of the time. So there can be some technical problem when we apply. So we can think about that aspect as well, right? To apply random sampling technique to the passengers, right? That one. And this regarding NDG Nisala, and you have put only exchange rate and GDP. So is there any reason to take those two variables?
Most of literature review use only GDP. So I use GDP and exchange rate.
Then you include exchange rate
Yeah,
also.
of course.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? We have
I have a question for Sarik. To calculate the value of time, you have identified some of the variables like price, willingness to pay, and income level, and so on. So, are you going to target only the high income earners, or what about the low income earners? Will you be able to target?
No, that's what it says, level of income.
So you are going to target only the, high income people?
No.
I mean,
level of income is a variable. So it can be anybody.
But when consider about the willingness to pay,
Sorry?
the person who doesn't have much money, they are not willing to pay, right? In that case,
Yeah.
So your target.
Yeah, the person whose level of income is less, his willingness to pay will be less. A person whose income is high, the willingness to pay for that trip may be high. So your question is, I am not only taking the high income people,
You are considering both sides.
all are concerned, because mostly the public transport users are not much highly income people.
So it's depend on their willingness.
Yeah, that's what I am getting a 300 odds of sample. So using a stratified random sample, community, all user groups will be selected.
any more questions?
So this is not a question, just comment. For the second presenter, you used odds ratios, right? I think if you use confidence interval for odds ratios and check whether unity belongs to the odds ratio, you can more confirm significance of the variable, right? You only use odds ratios. If you use confidence intervals for odds ratio, you can more confirm your conclusions, right? And also for the fourth presenter, as previous comments also suggested, if you compare actual values and forecast values and find the percentage of error, you can, I think, more validate your model. And these are two suggestions. Thank you.
For one or two questions? So if not, I will take over. I'm not going to ask questions, but I would like to give some comments. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you, especially those who are making presentation most probably for the first time. So you all have done a good job. But as an academic, as well as a decision maker at the moment. So I would like to give you some advice. One advice is that when you talk about a point, get to the point as soon as possible. Because decision makers will not waste time listening to all the stories. They want the answer. Right? And also, I think it is because of your first time, you all, except one, try to defend yourself by giving all the statistics to show that you have done it correct. But you have to have the confidence that you have done it correct and make the presentations. If somebody wants, they can ask it later on. And so when you go defensive, always you miss the main point. So that is something that you have to remember. Not only them, the young ladies and gentlemen who is going to be completing their undergraduate studies. So this is very important part. So you have to have the confidence of what you have done. So don't try to, go overboard to, show, because there are certain things that, accept. But if you have not done it, then, the audience can figure it out. So that is the second point that I wanted to make. And also, if I go by individually, I asked some questions from the first presenter. The second one, your conclusions. You have done a very good study, but the conclusions, when it comes to conclusion, I had the same question as Dr. Sirisoma asked. What's the relationship between your research and the rest area? It's nothing to do with your research. So don't come up with some conclusions that you had the prior ideas, because that has to be decided not only on this survey, based on the expressway network to come. Now we have to consider the central highway and the extension of the OCH, extension of the southern extension, the expressway. So based on that only you can decide on that. But whatever the data you have collected, it's not a place where you go and conclude that way. So you should have concentrated more on the willingness. Which one is appropriate is very important. Right? But you missed that point. I try to grab who prefer post and who prefer pre-pay, but that part didn't come. Right? But you have done it. It's very important. Right? At the moment we have only one method of payment, that is free, and there are certain dissatisfaction, and also so you should have presented that. And when it comes to the third presentation, again you carried away with the statistics, and I couldn't grab, what is the most important parameter. If I want to improve the public transport, what should I improve? You said service quality. Anybody can say that. Out of service quality, which one you should be improve first? Or what is the most important one with respect to the users? That is where, the decision makers can take action. So everybody say that, we have to improve the service quality. So to do that, you don't need the study. Right? But, you have done it, but again, you didn't focus on that part, try to justify your data collection and things like that. Sharik, you also fall short of the expectation. It's a literature review, but the first question is why you want to change from the income-based method, and what makes you go to this econometric analysis, so that That should have been stressed, highlighted, and then it will be somewhat completed. The last one, yes, the comparison would have been nice. My question is, like, according to your formula, what will happen when the exchange rate change? If the rupee devalue, whether the arrivals go up or down? Why did you put the exchange rate there? Because you have to be practical. In statistics, we can use different variables and come up with nice R-square value and good relationship, but the actual physical, logical explanation has to be there. Because something that we should be able to control and then get the change. That is why we do modeling, not to just explain things. Right? I didn't get the numbers because you rushed, but if it is minus, then that means whether we should devalue the rupee so that we can get more people, or whether we should improve the rupee so that we get more people. Can we do that? And whether it is logical for airline industry to because what we do, what we model the past is to get an idea about the future. And then I don't know whether there are many publications on this matter, the estimation of the passenger demand for BIA. Now, when the country's situation and the airport situation changes, there will be discontinuity. So you can't, it is very impractical to use data from 1976 up to today to, tell about future. Because our terminals change, our airlines change, and the country's situation change. But GDP and the exchange rate does not reflect that. So there are certain it's not that, now for example, BIA terminal change of, last 5-6 years or even, so that made a change, right?
Panel data is also can be used to.
Yeah, so the more important thing is that, whether it is reasonable to use 1976 data for us to extrapolate, because those are outdated.
Yeah.
The conditions are no longer valid. Right? So in the airline industry or industries which are changing fast, we have to be very careful when you are using historical data. It's not like rainfall. Right? So we have to find the optimum time period for which, beyond that, if you plot the curves are going in different ways. 1976 to 80 may be a flat line, and after that, sharp gradient, another one. So we are trying to, average it out, so that will not give the better picture. So that part is very important, and there are some literature available also if you want to look at it. Because this is a very dynamic thing, So whatever happened in the past is history, There's no relationship, right? So these are economic change now. Rupee, right? There was a period where we fixed it, and there was a period where we allowed to float, and so therefore it's not a good variable for estimation, because that has gone through different changes. Right. So these are some of the things that I would like to highlight, but don't get discouraged, because in my opinion, all of you did a very good job. Right? But I thought that it's my duty to give some comments so that you can improve yourself. Don't make the same mistake. in the future. Good luck. Thank you. So, with that, we can conclude this session. It's almost time. So thank you very much for participation, all the questions, comments, and the patience. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the end of technical session 1 of management. It is time to sum up the session. I would like to invite Professor Bandara, the chair of the session, to present certificates to the presenters. S.S. Vanyarachi, A. Rodrigo, HWMIS Ranavana, AHMS Sharik, NDGT Nisansala. Now I would like to invite Major General Ruwan Kulatunga to present a token of appreciation to the session chair. Thank you, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank Professor Bandara for attending to chair the session. And with this, we conclude this session, and I cordially invite you for refreshments at the lobby area. Thank you.